Hi, my name is Carey Aborn, and I'm the Director of the Center for Career Development at Curry College. Today, we are doing our internship information session and a panel discussion with current and former Curry College students. Our agenda for today, we're going to do a brief overview of experiential learning at Curry. I'm going to have each of the panelists introduce themselves, and then we'll open it up to a question and answer with the audience. For experiential learning at Curry, we have a really great program. For education students will actually be doing student teaching and field work, and it will be a part of their curriculum. So they won't actually have to go out and find their own student teaching opportunities. They will be placed into them. And that's also the same for nursing students. Nursing students will be doing clinicals, and there's a clinical coordinator who will place students into those nursing opportunities. For all other majors, students will be doing internships. To do an internship at Curry, an academic internship at Curry, you have to have a sophomore status at least. You also have to have a GPA requirement of at least 2.75. There's a prerequisite course that you need to take. It's called EXP or SOCH or CJ 2340, and the name of the course is Introduction to Experiential Learning. Some majors have more stringent requirements. For example, some majors may require you to be a junior to be able to do an internship. They might also have requirements for different courses. So every major has a faculty internship coordinator. And that faculty internship coordinator is responsible for helping students in their major to make sure they meet the requirements and helping students with the process of finding an internship. We actually have an internship coordinator with us today on the call. We have Dr. Elizabeth Carey. Dr. Carey, do you want to introduce yourself, and is there anything that you want to share at this point regarding experiential learning in general?
No, actually, that was great. I think most of you guys know me. I'm Dr. Carey. I'm an associate professor in the psychology department. I am the psychology internship coordinator, but I also help students find internships in a lot of other majors, everything from art to applied technology to biology, politics and history, English, community health and wellness. So a lot of students, I know a lot of the panel people, so I'm really excited to hear everything they have to say, because I just love when students do internships. It's such a great opportunity. One of the things that I do want to reiterate is EXP is required. So you really need to check with your internship coordinator. The class is a pre-professional development class. There are a lot of important things that get you prepared for internship. Everything from writing your resume and your cover letter to getting your learning contract and your learning outcome goals and objectives done, to doing site searches, to preparing for interviews. So it's considered one of our pre-professional development classes, and so it is a super class to take even if you're not thinking about doing an internship. It's a class that will prepare you for once you graduate from college. So that's my little bit on that one.
Thank you, Dr. Carey. And you oversee the EXP curriculum and the EXP courses.
Yeah, I'm the EXP coordinator as well. So I'm responsible for maintaining the curriculum and running all of the courses, staffing the courses, and make sure they're meeting all of you guys' needs. So again, always reach out to me if you guys have any questions.
You know, a big part of my job is working directly with employers, and that's one of the reasons that employers love working with us, because the interns that we send out to employers, our employers know that they've taken this course, this Introduction to Experiential Learning course, which prepares our students for professional experience, as Dr. Carey was just saying. So we have built up a lot of trust and goodwill with our employers because our students always come to them very prepared. So when you are in an internship at Curry, you are assigned a faculty internship supervisor. Most students also participate in a seminar at the same time. Interns in the field will typically work 10 to 12 hours per week for a 3-credit internship. And a side note is that international internships are available through the Study Abroad office. Does anyone have any questions before and comments? Go ahead.
That was me again. Sorry. I always have questions and comments. One of the things that I want to, again, just stress is that in most majors, your internship seminar professor will serve as your supervisor. However, there are other majors where you need to attend both seminar and have an academic supervisor. Having an academic supervisor is very important because they are professionals in your field, and they're the ones that are going to guide you while you're doing your field experience. So it's really important to make sure you have a supervisor that you feel comfortable with, that is knowledgeable about your particular area in your internship. Like Aiden, who's just on, he's interested in doing a sports and rec internship. So he should really make sure that he's connecting with someone in his department whose specialty that is. In terms of hours, we recommend about 10 to 12 hours a week for a 15-week internship, because you have to do 120 hours in the field. So we really want to make sure, as the students will tell you, that you're meeting the hours that are required for internship. So most students go to a site at least 2 days a week, anywhere from 5 to 6 hours a day, but that's something you determine with your site supervisor. So you do have some flexibility, but I always tell students to keep that in mind when you're planning ahead and planning your courses.
Thank you. So a few notes about the Center for Career Development. We have a new employer job and internship database. It's called Handshake. And this Handshake system now gives us access to hundreds and actually thousands of employers and jobs, not only all over the United States, but all over the world. Our office also sends out a Hot Jobs e-newsletter every week. And in that newsletter are internship opportunities, featured jobs, and events where employers are coming onto campus and they're hiring students for internships and jobs. So when you're looking for an internship, these are the places to start. Handshake, looking at the newsletter that comes out every week, attending the events that we have with employers on campus, networking events, and also talking with your internship coordinators. If you're not sure what kind of internship you might want to do, you can always make an appointment with our office, and we have a dedicated career advisor. We can help you with career and major exploration, thinking about what you can do with your major and what kinds of internships you can do with your major. We'll help you with the internship search process. We'll help you clean up and polish your resume, your cover letter, a portfolio if your field requires that. We can help you with the social media profiles, including LinkedIn. We can help you prepare for interviews and doing informational interviews to get your foot in the door in places that you're interested in applying to. To make an appointment with us, the address is carey.edu/ccdaPPT. If you're interested in doing an internship, the next steps for you are to complete an internship application form on the Center for Career Development portal page. You'll also want to make an appointment with your internship coordinator. It's very important to be working with your coordinator throughout the search process. As I mentioned, searching Handshake for opportunities, watching the CCD weekly Hot Jobs newsletter, meeting with your career advisor in our office for additional guidance. Some upcoming deadlines to keep in mind. We are having a winter intersession internship term, and that starts Monday, December 7th. So you must have your internship secured by then. For the spring, the absolute last day to secure an internship and have it confirmed by your coordinator is Tuesday, February 16th. That is the add drop date for the spring semester. Of course, ideally, you want to have your internship secured way in advance. And then for the summer, the registration deadline is Tuesday, June 1st. Dr. Carey, do you have additional comments to make regarding this information?
No, I just want to make sure that students know, if they're interested, that it's a wonderful opportunity to do an internship in the winter intersession or summer intersession, because we have a very particular 3-for-1, which I'm sure Carey's going to talk about. So you basically pay for one internship credit, but you get 3 credits on your transcript. So it's a wonderful opportunity when you don't have a lot of coursework to take advantage and do an internship, so you can really give it 100% and you're not stressed with also taking, 5 or 4 classes and doing an internship.
Thank you for mentioning that, Dr. Carey. I think it's really important to point out, as you mentioned, that we have a 3-for-1 winter internship program. We offered that this past summer as well, and it may be something, if students really want it, it's something we might be able to continue to do. So take advantage of that. If you're thinking about doing an internship, take advantage of our 3-for-1 internship program.
Can I just say one more thing that I just want to make sure, and I'm sure some of these folks will talk about it. One of the things about an internship is it does meet the requirements for active learning. So that's important to note. If you need to meet the active learning requirement for Gen Ed, an internship does meet that. An internship, because it is a 3,000 level course, also meets the requirements for your major as a 3,000 level course. So it's kind of, you can do a lot with an internship, not just get the experience, but you're also kind of, making sure you've done your active learning, you have a 3,000 level course. So it's a really good opportunity for a number of different reasons.
Thank you. So I'm very excited. We have a number of panelists today who are going to be talking about their internship experiences, either as a current student or as an alum. So I'm going to call on each of them to ask them to introduce themselves, and then we'll open it up to questions from the audience, and I have a number of questions prepared as well. So Jacob, would you want to get us started to introduce yourself?
Sure. So my name's Jacob. I'm a business management major. I'm going to be graduating in the spring in May. Hopefully we have a in-person graduation. Last summer, I was fortunate enough to intern for a commercial construction development company, J. Callan and Associates in Quincy. I really started the process over the winter. I think that's a major thing, is you need to get going on it early. Things like this don't happen overnight, but some things that I did during the internship is I took daily reports, took numerous site photos of the construction site, various site logistics, helped the workers on site for client meetings, and also this summer, a lot of COVID-19 guidelines, since we have a lot of people coming onto the construction sites from various parts of the region. We have people coming from New Hampshire, Connecticut, Rhode Island. We needed to make sure that they were all safe, because on a construction site, I knew this, but safety is the main priority. So especially with COVID, we needed to make sure that we were able to stay open, because if we couldn't stay open, there was no money to be made.
Thank you, Jacob. Faith, will you introduce yourself next?
Sure. My name is Faith. I'm a senior community health and wellness student, and I have a minor in psychology, and I'm expected to graduate next May. I was an intern at the Larson Senior Center in Attleboro, Massachusetts last spring. I completed it, but things kind of hit the fan halfway through. But had I been able to fully go through with my internship, I would have overseen a Regain Your Balance program with the senior citizens that went to the senior center. So my task would be to evaluate them at the beginning, middle, and end to see how well the balance program worked for each of the participants. And I graciously won Intern of the Year last year as well.
Thank you, Faith. Katie, will you introduce yourself next?
Absolutely. My name is Katie, and I am an English major, a creative writing concentration, and a psych minor. I'm set to graduate in 2022, and I'm a junior. So my internship is actually on campus. It is with Dr. Carey. I am one of the students that participates in the Futures Art program. And essentially what that internship entails is working with, working with clients that have intellectual disabilities. And hold on one second. I apologize, sorry. Essentially what that entails is working with clients with intellectual disabilities to get them out of either their group homes or their facilities or wherever they're living, and just kind of get them doing something. And I did this internship last spring, and unfortunately it was cut short due to COVID, but we actually did it in person, and we helped the clients create art. We structured activities for them, and we actually took them down to the stew for lunch every Friday, and they absolutely loved it. We loved it. And then I ended up being able to do the internship again this fall, and unfortunately due to COVID it is entirely remote, so the structure is quite a bit different. We are actually responsible for overseeing multiple clients as opposed to just one or two. And we teach lessons for just for them in order to facilitate their activity later on. And so far it's been going great.
Thank you, Katie. Connor, will you introduce yourself next?
Sure thing. My name's Connor Clarity. I'm a graduate of the class of 2020, graduated last May. And I completed my internship the spring semester of my senior year. I did it at Westwood Media Center in Westwood. I was a production assistant / head of production. And I was kind of tasked with shooting and editing videos with a after-school program with one of the elementary schools, as well as heading a media shoot for the high school basketball teams, where we created a kind of a hype video for them. So that was a lot of fun. And like a lot of the people, got kind of cut short, but then we tried to do things remotely and it all kind of panned out. But it was a great experience and I'm glad I did it. My one thing advice would be don't wait until your senior year.
Thank you. And Connor, what are you doing now?
Right now, actually, or I should say I was a communications major with a concentration in TV production. Ironically, I am a producer at a radio station at the moment in my hometown, which is awesome. I love it. But I plan to do things in TV, hopefully, once more things are available.
Great, thank you. Kate McDermott, will you introduce yourself next?
Hi, Kate McDermott. I am a senior. It's hard to believe. I will hopefully be graduating in the spring. It looks like everything's all set for that. I'm really glad that we have that slide there so I can remember. So I interned at 2 places over the course of, I've been at Carey. I was in the Futures program with Dr. Carey as well. We worked with clients from the Charles River Center. Hopefully I'm not talking too fast here, let me know. And we did art therapy based programs. We worked one-on-one with the clients. And then afterwards, we took them to the student center to have lunch. And that allowed them to have a sense of community and have the Carey community interact with individuals they may not ordinarily have the opportunity to work with or interact with. And we did lesson planning. We helped support the clients with the variety of their needs they had, and adapted the lessons to their individual needs. And we led lessons as well. Then the second internship I did was at May Institute in Randolph, Massachusetts. Dr. Carey recommended me for this position, or recommended I look into ABA jobs, which I had no idea what ABA was until I talked to her. And it's applied behavioral analysis, just to make it really simple here, I was working with kids with autism, and the May Institute is an autism center. So I was working with kids aged 2 to 6 who were diagnosed with autism. So I helped out with the programming, helping set up the sessions, organizing, which was an uphill battle if you know kids, helping prepare lunches, figured out that smiley face ketchup really helps them eat, helps them eat their lunch. So that was a fun learning opportunity. And just real quick, I highly recommend, excuse me, getting to know your professors and letting your professors get to know you. If I hadn't had those open channels of dialogue and hadn't developed a rapport with Dr. Carey, I wouldn't be going into the field of ABA. So, all right, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kate. Tiana, will you introduce yourself next?
Hi, I'm Tiana. I graduated this past May. While I was at Carey, I completed 4 internships. I was a psychology major and sociology and criminal justice minor. I interned at East Boston Courthouse twice. The first time there, I shadowed the substance abuse coordinator, and the second time there, I shadowed the first justice. I also did an internship called Skills Empowered, which I helped led a social skills group for teenagers. And I also participated with the Charles River facility internship as well.
Thank you. And Tiana, what are you doing now?
So currently I am a therapeutic mentor and therapeutic training and support staff member for North Suffolk Mental Health Association.
Thank you. Very impressive.
Thank you.
Catherine, will you introduce yourself next?
Hi, I'm Catherine Garvey. I'm a senior psychology major with a dance minor, and I'm expected to graduate in May. I did 2 internships. I did one last spring before we went home, and then I'm doing one currently. So the one I did in the spring, it was a dance internship that fell under psychology because, I'll explain it. But so I taught dance classes and I oversaw like the dance program at the YMCA. And then before we knew that we were going home, I was planning to start a autism class. So I would teach a dance class with like 4 kids that have autism. And that was gonna be really cool, but you know, things happen. And then the one that I'm in now, it's with Skills Empowered, like Tiana did. So we just do the same thing. It's all on Zoom now, so it's different. We just come up with activities that we can do with the kids over Zoom. So like we did Pictionary the other day, and like we'll do like a scavenger hunt. So like he'll say like, go find this in your room, and whoever has it first like wins. And then we also bring in guest speakers that teach like a lesson kind of. So we had one guest speaker that talked about the virtual safety, which was really cool. And then we come up with lesson plans on our own. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into it.
Thank you. Liv, will you introduce yourself next?
Yeah, I'm Liv. I am a senior communication major. I have a double concentration in theater and public relations, and I'm set to graduate this May. My internship was this past summer. It was completely remote. I did social media content for a woman in my town who is an author and a blogger. I had access to all her social media, and I created content, and I posted content as well and made like content calendars.
Thank you. And Ismay?
Hi, I'm Ismay Bailey. I'm a double major in physics science and biology. I'm expected to graduate in spring of 2021. So I've had 3 internships through Carey College with the help of Dr. Carey. no one's in here. So. My first internship was at the Clark County Coroner Medical Examiner's Office, where I had the chance to assist and shadow death investigators while they go out to scenes. Was also able to shadow in forensic autopsy, able to shadow in with the forensic techs, and attend a coroner's conference. Also had another internship at Nevada Donor Network. There I got to shadow and see over organ procurement, so organ donation, any OPO. And then currently I'm doing a fellowship with Fallon EMT, where we're doing EMT training, and then we're going to be taking like our tests, getting certified as EMTs, and then working for the persons.
Thank you for sharing. And Krista.
Hi, my name's Krista. I graduated in December 2019, so I'm actually the class of 2020, and my major was criminal justice, and I had 2 minors, women and gender studies and sociology. Over the course of 4 years, I did 2 internships. The first one was with the Norfolk Advocates for Children, and then the most recent one was for Carey College's Public Safety Department. And I just basically learned how to work in that environment and dispatch.
And Krista, where are you working now?
So I actually moved from Connecticut out to Boston. I'm actually right at work. I work at Simmons University Police Department and Public Safety Department as a dispatcher. So clearly internships really work. So I would definitely suggest doing 1 or 2 and kind of figuring out what you want to do, because without my last internship, I would have never applied to Simmons.
Great, thank you. So we're going to open it up to questions now. And I will stop sharing my screen. So if you have questions, feel free to unmute yourself and ask. You can also put questions in the chat, and I'll continue to moderate, and I can ask any questions that appear in the chat.
Okay, I have a question.
Go ahead, Aiden.
Do you only get credits for like the first internship you do?
That's a great question. Dr. Carey, do you want to answer?
Yeah, Aiden, I can answer that. Nope, you get credits for all of your internships. However, your first internship, because it's 3450, it actually counts towards your major. The additional internships that you do, if you have a minor, they can count towards your minor, or they fall into your general elective category. So like Tiana did multiple internships, and so did Kate and Kat. So one of them actually went towards their major, and the other one went either into their minor or into their general electives. You know, and for maybe one of you guys who did multiple internships can talk about why that's important. I can tell students why that's important, but I think from what you've heard, Tiana, Katie, and Kate all did the same internship with the Futures program, but they all had very different experiences. And so everybody takes away something different from their internship opportunity. But maybe one of you who did multiple internships can talk about why it's so important to do more than just one. I don't know. Ismay, anybody? Can you talk about why it was important to do more? Tiana, go ahead.
So I think from my point of view, it's important to do more because you'll realize either you like working in that field or that it's not your biggest fan or your cup of tea. I realized through my internships that I like legal involvement and working with youth. And that's what I'm pretty much doing now. I'm being a mentor to kids in DCF, different departments, IEPs, and everything in between. And I think the most important aspect to take out of an internship, it's all about how you show up. Whether like you're working with clients, these clients need you, like they need you to show up for them. And I think the more internships you do, the more you realize like, hey, I'm about this, or like, I don't really want to work with these types of this group of people. So I think it's all about like how you look at it. And the more you do, the more awareness comes from the experience.
Just to go off what Tiana said, I actually took a gap year between high school and college. So I think I did like 4 different internships in that time. And it was such a wonderful opportunity. You know, it's one thing to hear and learn about careers in the classroom, but to actually get in there and get your hands dirty and actually interact with people who have been in the field for a really long time. I really liked asking my supervisors, like, what are the best part of your job and what are the parts that are not so good, so I can get a better understanding. And that has been incredible learning opportunity. It's been nice having an internship and having coursework, and you're able to see and apply what you're learning in the classroom to the real world. And it's also really good for your resume as well.
I agree with Tiana and Kate with being able to go to internships, like the various different types that are a part of your major. It lets you experience like what you really want to do. Like, for example, I know I want to be a coroner death investigator. And so I've been at the coroner's office for 5 years. But then I decided to take another internship with like the Nevada Donor Network, which also deals with death and then mainly just brain deaths. And I found I did not want to work with the OPO at all. I thought like, oh, like still in the same thing with death investigation, just with the more anatomy field, and it was just a no for me.
And if I can jump in again, I think one of the things that Kate said when she was talking was that she did the pre-art therapy futures program because Kate was an art person. She's an art, has an art major and an interest in art. And if Kate hadn't done that and that I didn't push Kate into ABA therapy, then Kate never would have known that she really was really good and liked ABA therapy. I think the same thing with Katie up top. I think as an English major, which was what I was as an undergrad, I never even took a psych class. I didn't know all the opportunities that were available to me. So I like it when students come to me that have a different background other than psych, because I don't think students often see the overlap that happens. Like I'm sure with Jacob's job and Connor's job, your jobs could also include people from other majors, being a safety person, right, Jacob? It's not just about business and management. I would assume that there's a lot of other health issues that right now with COVID, it might be a good opportunity for a public health and wellness person to get involved in understanding safety and OSHA and all of the kind of things that happen at your position, right? And Connor, you're a media person, but I'm assuming you also counted on education people to help you wrangle up all those kids to make a good video shoot, right? Because Connor probably doesn't have a lot of experience working with little ones and trying to get them on camera. So I think we all play off each other. And like I said, I think a lot of you, I helped Ismay with her internships as well. She had a wide range of experience. Kat said that she actually did a dance, internship for psych. Well, a lot of students like to major in expressive therapies. Dance therapy is really good for kids with autism. So I think you guys are all hitting on something. And Adam, Aiden, sorry, I hope that kind of helped you a little bit. I really think you guys should probably try to do at least 1, if not 2 internships, to find out what you like and what you don't like. Because I always tell students, and Ismay's going, yep, I know, I don't want to do that. Sometimes it's important to find out what you really don't want to do. Because I've had a student come to me and they said, they were a psych person and they took every child course they could possibly take. I love kids. I want to work with kids. I put them in an internship with kids. They came back the next week in tears. Why did I say I want to work with kids? I really don't like kids. I said, but you told me you wanted to work with kids. Well, I love my cousins. I loved babysitting, but that's not the same as working with kids with mental health issues. So we averted a catastrophe and we kind of replanned where they were going to go. But, Aiden, you might say, I really want to work with this population and I really want to do this. But until you actually do it, you know, sometimes you really don't know. I don't know if somebody can speak on that, because I see all this, everybody shaking their heads and agreeing with me, but somebody throw something out there. What was your experience like?
Just real
You
quick,
know?
thank you for pushing me.
As you're all thinking about answering that question, we have another panelist that I would like to introduce herself, and her name is Hannah Gillis.
Hello everyone, I'm Hannah Gillis and I'm a junior business student, and I just added the new major as my minor in marketing. I'm the Center for Career Development's marketing and communications intern. So I work with the department in creating things like newsletters that get sent out every week. I've been working closely in our new job application handshake and the switch over from Carey Connect. I've really been hands-on with that, as well as these info sessions have been great for me to kind of just get a feel for all of the internships possible. I am set to graduate in 2022, and I may pursue the Carey MBA. And I currently am really enjoying this marketing communications internship. I knew I wanted to find my place within the business department, and I am more than happy to be involved with the Center for Career Development and see all of the opportunities firsthand, as well as at a perfect time where our marketing major had just came out. It all is being pieced together, and this internship is a great start for me to begin my career. So I'm happy to answer any questions about the college's job application site, and I'm really grateful to be a part of the Center for Career Development.
Thank you, Hannah. You've been doing such a great job. So
Thank
going back to Dr. Carey's question that she just put out there, thoughts to the group?
Nobody has any experiences that they learned like this was, maybe I like the job, but maybe this is something that I don't really want to do, kind of thing.
It looks like Krista.
Going to your point of a lot of jobs working together, I can't speak for other people, but definitely on mine with the COVID thing, we had a lot of public health experts come in every so often and check and make sure that everything was running smooth. And we had a nurse on site every day with her own separate trailer to set up. And just like at Carey, you have to have your own check. You have to do a symptom check, get your temperature taken every single day. So there's definitely, that was a great example you had there. Just because there's one thing you major in or something, you can bring it anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely, Jacob. I'm glad you said that, because I think, again, we often forget how interdisciplinary we are and that everybody really needs to work together. And one of the things that I just want to address, because unfortunately, I think COVID is here to stay for a little bit, and a lot of students are concerned about internships. And I'm going to be quite honest with you. We have lots of internships. Internships haven't stopped because of COVID. This semester alone, just in psychology, we have over 20 students who are doing internships remotely. And then we have another half a dozen or dozen or so who are actually going to sites. And I think that's across campus. Internships haven't stopped. We just need to find a different way to do them. And so I don't want students to think, well, I'm not going to be able to do an internship. You are going to be able to do an internship. Because the world just doesn't stop. The economy continues, construction continues. You know, now with all the PSAs, I'm sure Connor's probably going to be really busy doing public service announcements about wear that mask, right? Wear it the right way kind of stuff. And I think now more people are relying on Zoom. So there's definitely a lot of technology and IT people that are going to be very, very busy. And in terms of psychology, there's, you know, unfortunately, we're already seeing the effects of young folks suffering from depression and anxiety. And the social skills group that Kat talked about, is actually going to be running remotely winter session. and in the spring semester. So there's opportunities if people want to reach out to kids and be mentors. So there's lots of stuff. Even though we are in a pandemic, internships haven't stopped, and I'm sure Carey will tell you more about that too, right?
We have plenty of internships. In fact, every semester I have more employers who want Carey students than I have Carey students to fill them. So there's always plenty. Krista, did you have a comment to make?
Yeah, so technically I did like 2.5 internships. I spent like a few weeks doing an internship, my first internship at I think it was Norfolk Family Probate Court, and I absolutely did not like it. I was going to my seminar every week just really upset. So like by experiencing that, I realized I didn't want to work in that environment, and my internship coordinator was able to work with me and get me into the Family Advocates out of Foxborough, where I worked with children, which was so much better. But if I never experienced that court job, I might have gone down that route and found out later on. So it's super important to kind of just reach out and branch out and do different internships and kind of find what you like and you don't like.
Yeah, college really is the time to explore. This is where, you've got some safety nets built in here at Carey. You've got lots of support and resources. It's so much easier to explore by doing internships now than later on after you graduate. I've got another question I want to throw out to the group, which is about how did you get your internship? Or if you're for graduates, how did you get your internship or your current positions? I know some of you have already spoken to this, but I really want to hear how everyone got their positions.
Yeah, I could say something about that. I actually used the career fairs that are offered at Carey. Very helpful. I went to all of them. Just to make network connections, even if you don't get a job out of it, they're good to have when you get business cards or connections, emails, just dropping your resume off or dropping your name off. But I got my internship at Westwood Media Center from an alumni who went to Carey. She graduated the year before me, and I had known her, we went to classes together. So when I saw her there, she actually became the internship, coordinator at Westwood Media Center, and I hooked up with her, and she got me in touch, and I went for the interview, and it was really great using that network connection that I had formed at Carey and at the career fairs to get that internship, which then, and ironically, connecting to my job at the moment, another Carey alumni who I ran into at a career fair worked at the radio station, and that's how I got this job now. So it was very cool just meeting all those people and making network connections and seeing how important those are in the future.
Thank you. Does anyone else want to share?
Mine, it was actually on my town's Facebook group, our pin board. The woman that I interned for posted on Facebook that she was looking for a social media intern, and that's exactly what I want to do in the future. So I was like, oh, I can, and it thankfully worked out.
I got my internship for East Boston Drug Court by one of my neighbors. I did that the first time, and then they welcomed me back. For the Futures program, I got that internship by talking with Dr. Carey, and the Skills Empowered internship I did. I saw a flyer, and Dr. Carey told me to apply for it. For my job now, I was the lead PAL peer mentor when I was at Carey, and I really liked the idea of mentoring. So I basically just Googled mentoring jobs, and therapeutic mentors and TTNSs came up. So I applied to a nonprofit near my town, and I ended up getting the job, and I love it to this day.
Thank you.
And can I also throw a shout out for Tiana? Tiana's being a little modest too. Tiana, can you share a little bit about what you just recently did with the World Disabilities Organization, please? Go ahead.
So I was the first student from Carey to present at an international conference. I presented at this conference on September 4th and 5th, and it was for learning disabilities worldwide. I'm actually becoming published now. They liked my presentation so much, and I now sit on the board for learning disabilities worldwide. So thank you. Yeah.
And she's also getting other Curry students involved and helping
Oh,
her.
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to recruit other Curry students to present at the World Conference next year. That's my position on the board right now. And I recently also just presented for Skills Empowered last night. So there's been a lot of presenting going on post-Curry as well.
So now my network is Tiana. So when Dr. Carey needs to find somebody an internship, or I need to go to somebody who's really important, now I go to Tiana now that she's got all these little things that she's doing that are super important. So I network all the time. These guys know that. But can I ask you? Go ahead, Kate. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, with the networking piece, that is crucial. You don't know who could potentially be a good resource going forward. And I try to treat, and I tell all my students is, treat every class like an interview. And, make it look like you cared. Don't, like, I know one person repeatedly went to class with their comforter and their pillow. Don't do that. Really show, your professors are going to become your colleagues when you graduate. Right? You want to show them that you are capable of being professional and that you are a good candidate for some of these positions. I've gotten a lot of letter of recommendations from my professors that's helped me get into certain positions. I know if it wasn't for Dr. Carey, there's a lot of doors that would not have been opened. So really get to know your professors. That's something I really tell my students a lot. And try to, we're becoming adults. You gotta learn how to carry yourself, because you could be running to anybody, and that person could be the person across from you in an interview. So that's it.
And I think that speaks highly to us why all of you are here doing this presentation, because you all are professional. You're all going to be graduating, if not this year, very soon, or you already have, and you know the importance of internships. One of the things I just want to include that I don't know, we didn't really touch upon it, is I want to talk about international internships, because I have had a lot of students now who are traveling abroad and doing internships abroad. And unfortunately, they couldn't be here today. But one of the things I do encourage, if you have the opportunity, is to actually do a study abroad and do an internship abroad. I recently had a student last semester during COVID who was doing a study abroad in London, Sammy. And she was also doing an internship, a 6-credit internship while she was there. She was working for a social service agency. She was doing case management, working with mothers and their children, providing food, housing assistance, medical care. And obviously when COVID hit, it became more important. But she also learned a lot from that experience in a very, very short time. So I always encourage students to think about not just doing something in your backyard in your neighborhood, but if you have the opportunity to do something that's international, because it just, again, speaks to your professionalism and your maturity, that you can actually travel abroad and then contribute to another community. So I think that's important. And I don't think anybody here has done any travel abroad, but again, for those that are listening that are interested, we do have a really great study abroad program as well that works with students to get internships internationally.
I think the international internship opportunities are amazing, and I agree it's important for students to take advantage of them. I'm also curious for our panelists who were in a seminar. Can you talk a little bit about the seminar experience and maybe what you learned from other students who were in seminar with you?
I can talk about it. Do you mean like senior seminar, or what kind of seminar?
Ismay, you may not have had a seminar, an internship seminar when you did your internship. It's not always, not all students do one. But I was just curious for students that did do an internship seminar, if you can speak to that. Faith, I think you may have done one.
Yes, I did. My internship seminar was very discussion based, and I believe it was like 15 kids roughly. So every week, every student would just take time to go around the room and discuss with the class what they did that past week or what they were working on or working toward. It was very discussion based. We did do a lot of writing as well, but it was more personal writing versus shared writing. At the end, we did plan to do a presentation, like I would do one on what my internship was to the rest of the class. But as I went through each class, mine was once a week to week, it was just discussion based on what you did, what you were doing, and then people could ask you questions or say like mine was similar to this or mine's very different from yours. And it was just very like communicative, I guess.
Good. And just to reiterate that, what Carey said, if you do an internship typically during the winter or summer session, which Ismay does all of her internships during the summer, there's not a required seminar. You just have individual supervision with a faculty member, but during the regular semester, you are required to attend seminar. And like Faith said, it's very, kind of talking about your placement, what issues might arise, doing weekly check-ins, documenting your hours, learning about professionalism, supervision. So there's a lot of different elements that happen in a workplace, issues of diversity, safety. So every seminar is kind of gauged to the students that are in that particular seminar. So I think that's why people hesitated, because everybody has a little bit of a different experience. We're trying to encapsulate what's happening at seminar, and what the business people do and the comm people do is very different from what the psychology and sociology students do and CJ students. So I think that's why there was a little bit of a hesitation.
Every major really, caters to the needs of their industry and their field. And that's why it's so important to always be in touch with your internship coordinator to make sure you know what the requirements are for your particular major. So we're getting ready to wrap up. I will close out with one final question. I'd love to hear from everyone, from each of you. We will have some prospective students and families watching this video during open house. And so when you think about what it was like for you when you were looking for a school, you chose Carey, and now many of you have graduated or are close to graduation. What advice do you have for prospective students about the opportunities that you've had here at Carey?
I think my biggest advice is to get to know your professors. That's been one of the biggest advantages for me. I've talked and gotten to know all of my comm professors, and that's helped with reaching out to whether it be theaters or places to do PR. So that's helped a lot.
Yeah.
For,
sorry. Go ahead.
Advice I give for incoming students is, as Liv said, one of the reasons why I chose Carey was the relationship you had with your professor. I toured a lot of schools, and out of them all, you never have a relationship like you had with your professors here at Carey. For residential students, something I always tell to incoming freshmen, and you've probably already heard this, but keep your door open as much as possible. It can't hurt to know people, and you never know where knowing someone's going to get you.
Thank you.
Sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off. I apologize. That's one of the downsides of Zoom. But definitely agree. Like I've been saying, get to know your professors. Let your professors get to know you. I know that might be a little bit challenging in COVID times, because I know I've been able to just walk into my professor's office and have conversations with them. So if you set up office hours with them and have that line of communication, because I know a lot of professors are not doing sit down office hours. And I know everybody's going to say this probably, and you've probably heard this a bunch of times at every school you've gone to. Clubs. Go to clubs. And they're find like-minded people, and that's how you build your own community as well. And don't be afraid to explore. You know, if you go in with an idea of one major and you like, I think I might be actually interested in communications, that's fine, right? And it's totally fine to explore. It's totally fine to look into different things, different avenues. And internships is one of the things you can do for that.
A piece of advice I'd give would be to not be afraid to ask for help. My like first and second year of college, I was deeply afraid of asking for help. I was embarrassed. I was like, oh, my peers are going to think this way of me. It really doesn't matter what your peers think of you. It really just matters what you think of yourself at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, you got your back. I think asking for help isn't a sign of weakness at all. It's a sign of strength, and your buddy next to you might be wondering the same question. So like raise your hand, ask the question, because there's at least one other person in the classroom wondering the same thing probably. So
Kind of
So
going off of,
true. I'm sorry, Kate, hold 1 second, Faith, hold on. You know Dr. Carey's motto, right? There's no silly questions, but you might get a silly answer, right? So I always tell my students, ask me anything you want. You might not get the response you want, but ask me anything you want. Sorry, Faith, go ahead.
no, that's all right. Kind of going off of what she was just saying, I say my biggest piece of advice would be to push yourself, because there's a healthy level of uncomfortable where you'll learn a lot about yourself, and you think high school goes by fast, but college goes by way faster. And this is the time to really know yourself, because like she said, at the end of the day, like you have your own back, you have to know what's good for you and what's not. So I would say not being so uncomfortable that you can't function, but being uncomfortable in the sense that you're learning and growing is really going to be what pushes you further into what you want and what you don't want post-college.
Katie, do you have any final advice for prospective students and families who might be watching this recording?
Yeah, I would say, honestly, I have done a lot of interviews. I've interviewed for jobs, internships, all that type of stuff. And I go into each interview treating it like I'm going to get hired. Even if I'm not, I treat it as a practice run, and it helps build your rapport with just talking to people, and it makes it a little bit easier. Like, for example, for me, being on a Zoom and talking in front of a bunch of people, like right now, is extremely anxiety inducing, but the more I do it, the more comfortable I'm able to get.
Thank you.
Piece of advice I would give students would be take out your internship to talk to the professionals there and try to network with them. And just keep in touch with people also at your internship, because when you graduate college and you may want to work there, you can contact people that you got to intern with or their colleagues that also work there.
Hannah, do you have advice for prospective families?
Yeah, so I've definitely learned so far that networking is everything. It's key to have your professors and peers and everybody throughout the community able to vouch for you and the kind of worker or student that you are. So whether it may be through a class or through a hobby. For example, I train service dogs, so that's a common point of interest for me to bring up with a lot of people that kind of brings together people. So I've used that to kind of make my way through my business career. And hopefully I can someday connect the two. But for now, I'm really learning that I like this path, and I'm learning where I should go next with my career. So it's always important to have an open mind and just really, like I said, network.
Thank you. Connor, do you have any final advice to share?
Yeah, I mean, like I think a lot of people touched on it. Kate said, push yourself. I think take risks. Any opportunity that arises, whether through, a class or a club or a teacher reaches out to you with something, definitely take it. I know it will be scary or anxiety inducing, as Katie said, but you just got to do it and get that hurdle. You'll feel much better afterwards. So yeah, just take every opportunity you can, because you never know when it'll come back, either post grad or during class or something and help you out in the future.
Thank you. Any final questions from the audience or any other comments that anyone wants to make before we finish up? Kat, did you have some advice to share?
Yeah, I just want to say, like, I'm a very anxious person and I get stressed very easily. So just breathe. Everything will work out. It'll be good. And yeah, that's it for me.
I just want to say that everybody should be really proud of themselves, that they've all done a great job. And even those students, obviously, I know quite a few of you, but those that I don't know, I'm actually really impressed, excuse me, with your internships. It sounds like you all had really great opportunities. And so you really should be very proud of yourselves, because not everybody does an internship. So you've all pushed yourself out of your comfort levels and tried different things. And obviously, as I can see, you're all going to have very bright futures.
Thank you. Not everyone does an internship, but everyone should. Everyone should do as many internships as you can. You really can't do too many, and they will help you set yourself up for success when you graduate. So the Center for Career Development is here to help you through the process every step of the way. I want to say thank you to all of our panelists. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for sharing your experiences and your wisdom. And thank you, Dr. Carey, for joining us today. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you to the Center for Career Development team, Liz Henderson, Nicolene Batista, and Joanne Connolly for being on the call today and helping us in the background. This will conclude our webinar, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.